I'm not gonna lie, this market is an absolute mess. We've got sellers living in the past, buyers in the present, and home builders fixated on the future. I mean, trying to explain this housing market is like trying to explain how the Kardashians became billionaires. See, what had happened was it started with a bunch of hype around like this thing that happened, right? Then all these shows came out about it, and then like everyone wanted to be in a part of it, but then like it started getting all confusing and stuff, right? And then like all these people started losing their careers, and now, man, I don't even know what's going on or where this is even going. Sounds about right, huh? Well, with all these mixed signals, I'm going to attempt to break down the actual statistics before really explaining the truth behind the numbers and where this is likely to go. So buckle up, because this one's going to be a real bumpy ride. First up, let's check out last month's sales. Last month, we sold 1,470 homes. This was almost a 38% reduction in sales from last February, when we sold 2,363 homes. But let me add some context here. While sales were down from last year, you're also comparing this year to one of the best February sales on record. For instance, in February of 2019, before the entire world went nutso, we only sold 1,783 homes. Now, that would put us down only 17% right now. Another factor is that while February sales tend to be higher than January, it only happens about 2/3 of the time, and typically only by about 100 sales or so. We sold 335 more homes than we did in January. Now, that's the largest increase in February sales in a decade. All right, next we have the median price. Surprisingly to me, the median price managed to actually decrease to $415,000 after 2 months of seeing a plateau. Now, on one hand, you can't ignore the fact that the median price just went down. And while I'm very much aware that I called the bottom of the market was back in December, I'm actually going to explain why later in this video when we try to put all of this back together. Next, let's check out inventory levels. As you can see now on the screen, inventory plummeted by 17% last month to end with just under 4,800 homes on the market. Now, this reflects a trend of 18 straight weeks with declining inventory, it's pretty concerning. Now, here's where it gets interesting though. On one hand, this literally mirrors what we've seen these past 3 years. However, from 2019 all the way back to 2012, this wasn't normal activity. These past 3 years have been insane and not a normal real estate market for a multitude of reasons. And while our market has been heated since 2012, it certainly was more normal than what we've been experiencing recently these past few years. So how concerning is this inventory problem? Now, I'll say right now, we literally have the exact same levels of inventory that we did in March of 2020 when we were about to go into quarantine. Okay, last but not least, let's see what effect this had on housing absorption. Now, if you remember, this metric measures how competitive different price ranges are performing. Now, the higher the percentage, the more competitive that price segment is in performing. First up is the bulk of our entire market, homes priced between $250,000 to $500,000. We saw a huge increase here from 34% up to 42%. Next, we graduate to $500,000 to $750,000. This too increased from 23% to 29%. Next, we head into the roughest price range, homes priced between $750,000 to $1 million. While moderate, we did see another increase from 19% to 23%. Now let's check out the luxury end, homes priced between $1 million to $1.5 million. This increased as well from 21% to 27%. Now finally, we have the ultra luxury market of homes priced over $1.5 million. Now, even this segment became more competitive at 16% from a previous 14%. So now the bizarre takeaway here. Every price segment had less inventory than last month, which makes sense considering inventory has been plummeting, right? However, only the luxury and ultra luxury market saw more inventory while managing to also become more competitive at the same time. So that's really surprising, and actually it's great news for the luxury market out there. All right, now that we've burned through all these metrics, let's attempt to try to make some sense out of this madness. Now, sales were up, but still trailing last year, which, like we said, isn't really fair to compare anymore. Median price dipped for the first time in a couple of months. Inventory continues to decrease. Think about this. We've now gone from only one out of 5 homes in contract in December to now it's only 1 out of 3 homes are in contract currently. So what's really going on, and where is this actually trending towards? Okay, there's definitely some cross signals going on, so let me explain and you can just rip me apart later in the comments. Right now, we have 2 major problems in this market that both fall under pretty much the same umbrella. First is inventory. Even with sales down, we only have a 3-month supply of inventory. Second is actually this very same inventory. In my estimation, about 70% of the properties I see are so absurdly overpriced that realistically they can't even be sold. If you're asking the same price as the last property sold for back last summer, I mean, I hate to tell you, but you're literally wasting everyone's time, including yourself. I don't know too many neighborhoods that are currently actually selling and haven't adjusted their property values. So here's a perfect example I came across for an investor the other day. In this complex, there's currently 5 units for sale. Only 1 of these units are actually under contract. So right off the bat, this doesn't really look good. And for this price range, you'd think 4 out of 5 units should be under contract, not just 1 unit. But look at the 1,072 square foot plan that's for sale. Now, one is asking $257,000 while the other is asking $260,000. Now, let's see what actually sold in this size. Well, October 7th, it sold for $255,000. All right, makes sense. But October 20th, it drops to $230,000. Then December, ouch, it plummets to $210,000. Now look at the only unit that's currently under contract. Do you see it? It sold in 2 days with an asking price of only $200,000. Now, this unit isn't quite as nice as the one that sold for $210,000, but the moral of the story is that this owner priced it right, and as a result, it sold in 2 days. Meanwhile, the other 2 are sitting 102 days and 44 days. It's the same story with the 882 floor plan, asking $228,000 and $240,000. Meanwhile, the last 2 units sold for only $191,000 and $175,000. So let's just cut out the crap. You've got 5 people trying to sell, but 4 out of 5 literally have no chance of selling at these delusional asking prices. Even if they found some country bumpkin who didn't know better, it would never appraise anywhere near their asking price. I have clients right now that are up to $2 million and we can't find them a suitable home. The homes that were priced right sold before my clients could even really react in time. Meanwhile, the homes my clients did like and would have purchased were so absurdly priced, it wasn't even worth entering negotiations. So while our inventory is low, the truth is that it's much lower than the numbers even reflect because we have so many delusional sellers out there. I've got plenty of buyers that are ready, willing, and able to purchase. There's just not much out there that currently makes sense. I just put a home in Summerlin into escrow for $650,000 with $15,000 coming back for closing costs. Now, this neighborhood had no sales since August of last year, but there were 6 homes trying to sell with no luck. Guess why? The last home that sold went for $850,000. $850 for this 2,300 square foot 2-story home with a 2-car garage. Let's just be honest, that house never should have been that much, ever. But the home is worth $650. So now this neighborhood only has 1 home available for sale, and it'll never sell since it's grossly overpriced. But 2 sellers quit and pulled their homes off the market, while 3 other sellers successfully managed to sell their homes, but at an adjusted current market value. So Ultimately, this market is a massively confusing mess. You've got those sellers living in the past, we've got these buyers in the present, and new home builders are looking towards the future. Now, contrary to belief, many of these new home builders are now removing incentives that existed a couple months ago. Now, sure, they still have some standing inventory, but they've also not been pulling permits for like 6+ months either. They know that the resale inventory is low, and they also know that the inventory out there is garbage. Every day I see tons of new homes going into contract as a result of this miserable resale market. So trust me, resale home sales would be much higher if we had realistic homes to sell. Moving forward, let's keep an eye on this inventory. This is by far the most important metric to watch. Typically, we see inventory start to increase mid-March, but with rates so high, not many sellers are motivated to really sell right now unless they absolutely have to sell. Sales typically pick up from March through August, so heading into the peak season, we could easily find ourselves with buyers forced to purchase new homes as a result of no resale inventory. Now, am I saying prices are going to go through the roof? No. But we've gone from almost no demand in the second half of last year to a pretty, let's say, normal demand now, but with no supply. As a result, I think the housing market is set to actually perform much better than people anticipate. Remember, people have to live somewhere, and here in Las Vegas, we still have a very positive net migration. These people are moving here, now have less and less options. Despite these miserable mortgage rates, I think this low inventory will manage to keep our housing market in stable condition moving forward. Now, you may see the median price come down as more and more of these stubborn sellers get with the program. But the reality behind the metrics is that I've been telling you guys for literally 9 months now not to purchase unless that neighborhood had adjusted their values 15 to 20%. Most of the neighborhoods that are actively selling have seen those level of price reductions. The ones that haven't, well, they look like parking lots as a result. All right, well, that's it for this month video, everyone. Please keep those comments coming. I mean, I try to read all of them, and I certainly get a few laughs along the way. So please share with your friends and family, smash that like button for me, and I'll see you guys all next month. Deuces.